Hi, I'm back. Thought today would be a bit of a fun video on me showing everything that I have sewn at varsity and a little few tidbit projects that I essentially did during my studies. And if I'm being honest, there's not a lot I can show you because there's just generally not a lot. But we can progressively see how everything develops over time with all the things that I make. So if anyone is wondering, and if you've seen what I studied clothing retail management at TUKS, which is like a fashion degree, but it's also a lot of business to it as well. Sort of what you'll be getting into if anyone wants to study this course. These are sort of the things that you might do. It is also subject to change, like I'll explain in first year. So let's get to first year stuff. We learned all the things to sewing. Everything regarding sewing we learned how to use a sewing machine. We used Bernina's straight stitch, how to do collars, cuffs, plackets, hemming, interfacing, lining, and all of these things. I'll show you all the basics that we sewed and then getting into the two garments that we sewed in essence. So let me show you. Just a preface, some of this is really bad because I don't know. Did learn is how to do gathering. So I don't know if you can see, it's a cute little bottom of a skirt. You have your yoke and then this gather. Also learned different types of darts and how to sew different types of darts. So this here is typically one of your longer darts. Also learned how to do princess seams. I really loved princess seams in second year when we get to it. So princess seams, if no one knows, that's what a princess seam is. It's essentially it goes from here all the way down. So we also learned ways and how we can sew square patch on a L-shaped pattern piece. We also learned it the other way, how to sew on curves with top stitching as well. We also did it the other way, so instead of it being this way, we did it on the long ways. And we also learned how to connect like quilting. These are 4 individual panels. If you look on the back, you can clearly see how to reduce the bulk in all of these different things. So like this could maybe be a pocket or a part of a collar where you would reduce the bulk and then you get something very smooth. And then the rest of all of this other stuff, we learnt it in conjunction to create miniature versions of it. See, we hemmed the edge and overlocked it. Learning how to overlock edges. So we have something like this, how to overlock and hem these things, how to sew pockets in. You can tell this is a little mini pocket for a skirt or pants or whatever. Also learned how to do pockets that are within the seam. So this would be your side seam, and then sort of like dress pockets or whatever, there is a pocket that is in the side seam. Pocket on, say like you have a collared shirt, a pocket like that on your collared shirt. I can't put this on, this thing's tiny, it might be fitting for a 2-year-old. Did a lot of things that encompassed other study themes. So you can't see at the front, but there's front darts, 2 back darts, one here, and then we also learned how to line something like this, if you can see. So do the whole armhole, around the neck, armhole. This is when we learned how to sew collars onto things. Excuse how maybe disgusting this looks. This was first year me, not knowing really how to do anything. And then lining that goes down. So we learned how to do flat line collars and collars with a stand. You can see this, hopefully you can. I got a nice little long sleeve here with a placket. If anyone knows a placket, it's sort of this that you see on your long sleeve formal t-shirts. So then you can put a button like that and then it would sit like that. Skirt we made, a very boxy skirt. That's the back. This is the front. We learned how to do waistbands, how we sew waistbands in like that. And then there's also a front zip, like goes like that, which I think I sew zips better in first year than I ever did. Little pants. Once again, we have a waistband with a zip in the front. So after learning how to do all of these things, and this was over the course of a year, we were going to do corsets, but then they changed the curriculum, and instead we created pants. So the only thing we had to do is that we got given instructions to create something like this, so how to sew it, but we could choose whatever fabric we wanted. So I went with this gingham. We had eyelets in the front to close it. We had a front zip, which I didn't sew in well at all. If I'm being honest, it looks so bad. There's beautiful pockets that are in the inside, and yeah, she's got a cute little hemline as well. Other thing that we sewed, but we had to be creative. I wasn't very creative. Just put a little smiley embroidered patch on it, but we made a sweatshirt. This thing is tiny. It's very ugly. It is very ugly. It does not fit me. It is very small. My sewing was not great at all. It was not good. And this is basically what we did in first year for any sewing project at all. So in second year, we didn't do that much sewing. We were learning how to do patterns, how to manipulate patterns, how to do grading, and most of it was a lot of mood boards. We were learning how to do technical drawing. This was another project that we did in groups. Eventually, we were required to do a sample, and then we had to do a final product. So with my sample, once again, she's looking a bit manky. She's very, very ugly at the moment. We know she's very ugly, but you know what? That's fine. She is a sample. She is so ugly. I only did one sample, and I only really needed to do one sample because my pattern was so straightforward that I didn't really need to do anything else. I'll insert some beautiful photos. She hasn't been ironed in a bit because she's been in the back of my cupboard, but this is the dress I made in second year. So it's got sheer sleeves that have got like sparkles on them, and it's this beautiful pale yellow dress. But this dress I actually really love. Here's the back of her. I don't know if you can see. In third year, I don't actually have our samples because this was a group project as well, and we basically had to make kids clothing. We had to make 25 bottoms and 25 tops in 4 hours. It was our mass production sort of course, and I'll just show you the end product that we all sewed together, which was very cute. It was this space theme, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was super, super adorable. We had our biggest project that we had to do, which was the most intense project that I've ever done. And I had to essentially create one look out of our 16-piece collection. I think this really changed, like seeing the difference from first year to fourth year and how I've grown. And to add to this, I wasn't sewing in between first and fourth year just based on how busy I was. I wasn't just sewing randomly on the weekend like a new dress. My design changed multiple times. I did 2 samples for this garment, and she was changing pretty much every day. This is the very first sample of her. She looks horrendous. This is the second sample that I essentially did for varsity, but this is the final sample that I essentially did. It took forever to do this. There's these little, all of these little groovy things, and those are called pin tucks. So we all had pin tucks in each of our designs, and those took hours to do. And I have to say the inside of this garment is probably the best that I've ever done. Those are all the things I made in 4 years of studying. You do a lot of fashion modules throughout that sometimes does not require sewing. It just requires either doing technical drawings, spec sheets, basically everything within the retail environment if you were to get a job in retail. And this degree is obviously very good for people who want to go into fashion. You really get a job in anything in fashion, whatever you want, because we covered a lot of these different modules in essence. So yeah.